Trapping at my granny crib, you know I made it happen. Put my life into the rhymes and then I started rapping. I heard them niggas keep talking shit until I pull up clapping. We the ones who get the drop and pull up with that static. I say we the ones who get the drop and pull up with them drinks. Lil' Buddy and them said they was real, but them little niggas fake. Mama told me always be yourself, don't be nothing that you ain't. We was broke, we was just eating noodles, now we eating steak. Back then I ain't trapping at my granny crib, you know I made it happen. Put my life into the rhymes and then I started rapping. I heard them niggas keep talking shit until I pull up clapping. We the ones who get the drop and pull up with that static. I say we the ones who get the drop and pull up with them drinks. Lil' Buddy and them said they was real, but them little niggas fake. Mama told me always be yourself, don't be nothing that you ain't. We was broke, we was just eating noodles, now we eating steak. Until I pull up clapping. We the ones who get the drop and pull up with that static. I say we the ones who get the drop and pull up with them drinks. Lil' Buddy and them said they was real, but them little niggas fake. Mama told me always be yourself, don't be nothing that you ain't. We was broke, we was just eating noodles, now we eating steak.
It is Let It All Out Monday here on the show, y'all. Y'all get ready. It's time to let it all out. When we flip it over to the other side. Let it all out Monday. Don't owe us nothing. Y'all, we waiting on our special guest tonight. Man, I tell you, there's been a lot going on this past weekend. So I know Dr. Reeves. I'm telling you, y'all, we waiting on her to come on. But I'm telling you, it's going, y'all, you about to get some valuable information. You about to get some valuable information. So we are getting ready. So let it all out Monday here on the show, y'all. We released a couple of more of the Dog Pound members today. I'm telling you, boy, I tell you, y'all keep sharing those kids. And I'm telling you, man, we about to gain some valuable information. Whenever she comes on, but I'm telling you, man, it's a great day to be here. So, man, we're gonna take this show to another level. We're gonna take it to another level. Because I know everybody know the recent tragedy that happened down at, dealing with the LSU player and all that good stuff. But man, I'm telling you, it took a lot out of me yesterday. I ain't gonna lie. It took a lot out of me, but you know, I tell people all the time, sometimes people are the sacrificial lamb. So y'all, we got to do better. We got to take this show. We got to stop taking our show for granted. We have a major platform, but we only make it minor because we deal with minor issues all the time. Anybody out there, man, y'all represent you. Oh yeah, I saw Fallon going to the NBA, going in the draft. I'm telling you, man, y'all about to gain some valuable information and resource. It's gonna be a valuable resource as well. Let me take this off the screen for a minute. So Y'all represent your schools, represent where you're from, all that good stuff. I'm telling you. Y'all get ready, man. I'm telling you, I'm waiting on Dr. Reeves now. Um, man, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. The information that we about to gain tonight here on this show. And y'all, we came on. I know y'all like, why they on that 6? It's 6 here, but it's 7 on the East Coast. And Doctor, she called it, she gonna be on from the East Coast. Stay away from the comment. Roll Tide. Tell represent your everybody represent your favorite college team tonight. Tell you, man. Murphy Panthers in the house. The Panthers are calling street. I told y'all, man, that's why we don't allow anybody to get on here and talk negative about anything. But we about to get a positive person on here now. The doctor
Hey,
herself is here. What's going on, doctor? Let me get this on the screen and put you on the screen.
okay.
What's going on, doctor?
What's happening? You hope you got it going on. You know you got it.
Hey, never duplicated on this side. They say often imitated, never duplicated. Never
Often
duplicated.
imitated, never duplicated.
How you been doing?
Doing amazing, extremely busy. This is a busy time of the year with uh, the D1 timeline of the closing of the portal is winding down. It will be closed on April the 24th for Division One. So any D1 transfers who are attempting to enter the transfer portal, they have until April the 24th to get their name in the portal. If they are unable to meet that deadline, they will be deemed ineligible for D1 school rostering positions. So it is no doubt very busy around about this time. But we certainly enjoy being on the show with you. And, want to say hello to the audience.
Hey, a lot of people like can't see me knowing a lot of people, y'all. I do. I know a lot of people, man. I just don't really tap into all the resources. Me and Dr. Reed, how long has it been? 10 years? Oh,
At least 10. I was going to say 10. Absolutely.
God, dog.
A
When we
long
was
time.
down in Clayton State,
Clayton State,
oh
that
my
amazing
God.
showcase that you hosted for me and just did an absolutely incredible job, and I'm still really, really thankful and for your contributions during the showcase, for sure.
Oh man. I'm telling you, man, we had Clayton State rocking that day.
It was
Clayton
indeed,
State was
absolutely.
rocking.
Yes. Yes, you did. Did an amazing job. We had over, I think it was over, I think I was told over 500 coaches were there. I didn't know it was that many, but that's what I was told, that it was 500 coaches, and I'm going, wait, what? So it was a huge success. We had the support of the Clayton State women's basketball team. They assisted with some of the refereeing. They assisted with
Oh yeah.
some of the I guess the keeping of the scoreboard and things like that.
Yeah.
So provided us, with the basketballs and things like that. So it was an amazing event.
uh, going back to that event, it was an opportunity for kids to showcase their skills.
Yes,
And these opportunities now can't be taken for granted uh, due to the transfer portal. Uh,
absolutely.
talk about how important it is now for any parent that kid is in high school, the things they need to start gearing towards so they won't be one of the people when they get to college trying to find somewhere to go. Uh,
Well, and thank you so much for that. The transfer portal has changed the trajectory for high school recruiting. And because we are so and we are engrossed in transfer recruiting, we have a college transfer report that is in very high demand across the nation. We have schools from NAIA schools, NCA Division I, Division II schools. We have JUCO sophomores, and we'll go more into detail as to what those are across the nation, different divisions, and we also have schools in Canada.
wow.
So the need for transfers is very much before us. And I am hearing from several coaches that they're not even recruiting high school kids. So the hierarchy of recruiting for transfers would be the D1 portal is first, then the D2 portal, then the D3 portal, then the JUCO sophomores, and then high school.
Wow.
So the high school kids, the McDonald's All American, the top ESPN top 300, the Juju Watkins, the Madison Bookers, the Paige Buckners, they go in the top ESPN 300. If you're not in the top ESPN 300, it will be very challenging. And notice I said the word challenging, not impossible. Very challenging to land yourself on a D1 roster coming from a 4-year public or private high school, secondary information, secondary school. So, and if you are fortunate enough to find yourself on rostered at a D1 school, you may find yourself being rostered and not on the court, which is two totally different things.
Wow.
Being rostered is one thing, meaning your name is on the roster. You may or may not be on the bench. But if you are on the court, actually accumulating stats in double digits, which is what makes you marketable on any court.
We have been recently we've been highlighting kids who have the stats. And a lot of people like, it's another kid over here, that's pretty good. Y'all, there's a lot of kids that's good out there. How important are those stats, to those colleges nowadays?
Recruitable stats in double
Uh-oh.
digits.
Uh-oh.
Recruitable stats, because recruitable stats allow coaches to keep their job. Recruitable stats wins games, wins championships. And if coaches recruit players that lack recruitable stats, they run the risk of getting fired. And notice I said they running the risk of not winning a championship, because nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So if you may or may not be a D1 athlete in size, for example, yes, if you're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", you are a D1 athlete in size, but you may not be a D1 player, meaning you lack the recruitable stats in excess of double digits.
Uh-oh. That's why I think all the confusion comes in there. Um, Down here, we talk about park ball legends and all that type of stuff, but that has nothing to do with those stats. And how important is it being at the right school or college? How important is that?
Well, what is the right school? The
Uh
right
oh. Uh oh.
what is that? It's called the whatever whatever division, whatever level is recruiting you. That's the level of player that you are, and that's just what the film says. That's just what those recruitable stats. If you're 4-1, you've played 27 games for the season. Your average points of buckets that you made is 4. Your rebounds are 3. So how marketable are you to another college or university, say to a coach who, for example, has only won 3 games during the entire season?
Ooh, Lord.
Herself. They're 3-23. Delaware
Wow.
State, they've won 3 games. Mississippi Valley, 2 games, 2 to 3 games. University, Detroit Mercy, 3-4 games. They've only won 1 to 3 games all season.
Wow.
We have schools that have won 0 games all season. So
Wow.
the questions become, how can you help me? Number one, keep my job as a
Yeah.
coach. Number two, how can you help me win championships? Because some kids just want to play. Do you want to play or do you want to win? There's
Yeah.
a difference. Do you want to play or do you want to win?
Now, over the years, doctor, you've been dealing with it, all sports, lacrosse,
Absolutely.
football. What has been some of the challenges that the football players run into that that you've seen over the last 20 years?
uh, Rushing yards. Again, stats. Position, size versus position.
Yeah.
Of course, football budgets in colleges and universities, they're always the biggest. The
Yeah.
football programs always get the bulk of the athletic money. Their recruiting is very competitive. It's very competitive. The the NIL possibilities, and not always money. NILs are not always money. It
Wow.
is it is so much higher. So the competition for football has become so intense. It's very, very, very challenging, and there's so many football players out there. It is at a whole new, it's taken on an entire different direction in and of itself. So we often encourage parents, high school kids, again. Well, the first thing you need to do is become a qualifier. So to all the high school parents that are listening, if you have an 11th grade student athlete, please get in the clearinghouse. Eligibilitycenter.org is that website. Eligibilitycenter.org. Please make sure you are a qualifier when you get to the spot where you're determining what colleges and universities that you may be interested in pursuing. But in the arena of football, it's very, very competitive, extremely competitive.
Well, over the years, I've come up, we've been marketing and promoting kids, and we've seen the kids that don't have those major offers in football or basketball by their sophomore going into their junior years. A lot of those kids get pushed to the wayside. We've seen very few juniors moving to be senior years that gain those major college scholarships. Is that the new trend? I know you deal with the transfer portal a lot. Is that the new trend by your sophomore going into your junior year? Uh, for the kids nowadays.
So, so we have recruitable
Uh
versus
oh.
non-recruitable offers.
Uh oh. Oh Lord.
So recruitable offers they have what's called caveats. In order for a recruitable offer to be accepted by a student athlete, for one, you have to be we're going to start with the NCAA.
Uh oh.
You have to be a qualifier.
Uh oh.
A qualifier requires you to graduate. You have to graduate. You have to possess a high school diploma, right?
Yeah.
You have to, first of all, be accepted in the university. You have to be accepted in the school before you can receive any scholarship money, because an offer to play a sport is a scholarship. So before a college university gives out a scholarship, you have to be a student. You have to be admitted to the
Hmm.
school. So that those criteria have to be met. You have to have a um, high school transcript that with a high school diploma conferred upon you, which means that it has to have that final stamp of approval saying that you have met the requirement, your state requirements for a high school diploma or GED. And you have to be accepted into college before you can accept any type of scholarship money, which is an offer. So yes, you can be offered in the seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth. Those are non-recruitable offers. It's just an offer. Of course, is not a promise. It's recruitable, and it's non-recruitable. It's a non-recruitable offer because in order to play for a four-year university or a two-year university, you have to have a high school diploma. So you can be offered, all day long, but you cannot sign until you meet the requirements. You have to be a qualifier.
I,
And now that's on the NCAA side. We're going to
yeah.
say NAIA side. You have to be eligible for admissions into the college. And this is where a lot of parents, they get confused, they get sidetracked, they get miscombobulated with the NIL, with, show me the money.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, colleges and universities, they don't generate any NIL money. That comes from sponsors. So colleges don't have anything to do with NIL. That comes from the alumni associations, the Ram clubs, the sponsors, the car dealerships, um, the ice cream shops that want to shoe sneaker deals. I'm just saying. So when they say, "Oh, show me the money," well, you show me how you are worthy of the money. Just because you are bouncing a basketball does not put you in control. It doesn't put you in control because you're bouncing a basketball or throwing a football or playing lacrosse or tennis or any of those, sports that are um, eligible for scholarship opportunities. It doesn't put you in control. You're
I
not in
know you.
control. The coach that has the money is in control. That's who's in
Oh
control.
yeah.
You're not in control.
Look at
You're not in
Ohio
control.
State. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're not in control. No.
I know you deal with a lot of JUCOs. Oh, now everybody is telling the kid, "Oh, you can go JUCO." How hard is it to go JUCO these days? Will you please let these people know?
Absolutely. They changed the requirements for junior colleges. They are very competitive now. They're not just taking kids that did not you know, score higher than a 2.5 in a 4-year time frame in high school. Those days are gone. Junior colleges are competing at very high levels, and I would encourage parents to log on to the NJCAA website and look at some of the tournament games that were going on during the month of March. Very high level competition, very competitive, and players that are attending junior colleges 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". We have a 6'5" JUCO transfer that we're recruiting right now. Now, she lacks recruitable stats because she's below double digits, which makes her not a D1 athlete. She's a D1 athlete in size. She's 6'5", but
Uh-huh.
she is not her. She lacks recruitable talent, recruitable stats.
Wow.
So
How
her,
important is the recruitable talent? And
I,
everybody be confused.
this confused. Yeah, they think because they are that high. Yes, you are a D1 athlete because of your size, but you
Wow.
lack you failed to put the work in over the
Uh-oh.
2 years that was required. If you're playing 22 games, 23 games, 24 games for the season, and you've scored an average of 7 points and
Oh my
three
God.
rebounds, and you're 6'5", those are not D1 stats.
Wow.
You may turn Dawn Staley's head when she sees that you're 6'5". She's gonna look because that's a D1. You're gonna definitely command attention, but
Yeah.
when they look at your stat sheet, they're gonna pass. So
Wow.
junior colleges are competing at a high level now. And what we're now doing, because a lot of parents are refusing to listen, we're just letting them go, go on to the D1, and we'll see you in the portal next March. And that's what happens.
Woo-hoo. And
Yeah, we'll see you in the portal next March. That's all, because it keeps us busy, very marketable. I mean, so you will go from high school. We're gonna have those kids that are D1 or bust. They're just gonna be there,
yeah.
and we are expecting those D1 or bust kids and parents. And
I-
so when they go to the D1, they get rostered, because there's a difference between rostering and playing. You're not playing if you're sitting on the bench. You are rostered. You rostered on the D1 roster, but you did not play on the D1 level. So you will be in the portal with no stats, and you will only have the only film that you'll have in Synergy is a couple of clips here or there, and what you played in high school, and you'll be in the portal, and that's how that's going to go. So it's just always going to be those kids. There's going to always be those parents. They don't care as long as their child is rostered, whether they're sitting on the bench or not. They're fine as long as it's, oh, they're on the D1. Oh, she's D1, he's D1, there's D1 that. But you're not a D1 player until you get on the court.
They're on the field.
On the field.
I'm
Thank you very
telling
much.
you.
On the field, absolutely. On the court or on the field. You're not a D1 player until you're on the field. I had a coach to tell me, you do not receive a wide receiver. If the
Uh-oh.
ball hits the ground, you do not receive. You did not receive the ball. If the ball hits the ground, you're not a wide receiver. I said, yes, you're still a wide receiver. He says, no, ma'am. You have to receive the ball.
Oh man. Look, I
What?
gotta use that one.
He
Look,
said,
that's
no,
giving
ma'am.
me.
He
Oh
said,
man.
Miss Reeves, he says, no, ma'am. I said, but he said, no, ma'am. You have to receive the ball. If you are a wide receiver, you have to receive the ball. It can't hit. If it hits the ground, you're not a receiver. Okay.
Oh man. I got a clip. that I've been playing on here from the Cam Newton interview, and I know you probably watched it, but I'm gonna play it and then I'm gonna use it as a commercial. And when we come back, I want to hear your thoughts on what Cam Newton is talking about.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
We're not recruiting any high school basketball players. Not this year. We've already recruited Ruben, Lefty. Come on, we're building from that. We're not this year. We're not even looking at a high school basketball player because we're losing Davon, Kadari, and Aaron. You can't replace them with high school kids.
Let me make this public service announcement to every single high school recruit that's around the world. The biggest, and I mean the absolute biggest threat to you guys has been the transfer portal, whether you want to believe it or not. When I was growing up and when I was getting recruited, yeah, the onus was on, hey, being a 5-star recruit. Hey, yeah, I got this or yeah, I got that. Man, I had a kid over the weekend, we played in the tournaments, talking to another kid, talking about, boy, I got 62 offers.
How many schools can you go to?
Like, you only can go to one.
Well, shit, now you
Shit,
go to
now
four.
now you can go to 62, damn
You
it.
probably can go to 62.
You feel what I'm saying? Shit, you can spend a semester at a different school. The statement is this, like Rick Pitino is a veteran coach. He understands what comes with an entitled ass high school recruit. Mm-hmm. He don't want them headaches. His hair is already filled with just for men, hiding that damn gray.
Yeah.
He don't want to have to be able to go into these homes of players that's not trying to better themselves and their households. Because this is the thing. When you're recruiting a person who already knows it's time to perform versus a player who's trying to say, what can y'all give me to perform? It's two different conversations. So high school recruit, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, lacrosse. Understand this. There's this thing called transfer portal that is your nemesis, right? So act accordingly. Coaches never really needed you. And it's all a conditional relationship. Under the right conditions is the reason why they're recruiting you like they're recruiting you. You don't know unconditional love. It's everything in life has a transaction attached to it. Don't let that fly over your head.
Well, we back with the doctor. We are back. What are your thoughts? Me and you talked about this earlier. What are your thoughts about what Cam Newton is talking about? Let me take this off the screen.
Well, he's 100% accurate on his analysis of the demand for high school players, right? Rick Pitino has stated that he is no longer recruiting high school players. John Calipari, the same. So they're not in demand. And if another high school kid is never recruited, and not only that, it's very little time. See, the pressure that a coach is under. How do I know these things? I see both sides. I'm working with the college transfer report. I'm working with coaches, 4-year coaches, 2-year coaches, D1 coaches, D2, D3, 2-year. I'm working with parents. I see the frustration of the kids. I'm very familiar with the firings of the coaches. The firing coaches are fired, getting fired. They're still getting fired. And there are more coaches who are still looking for a job from last season, of which they got fired, and the season before that. Some of them never recover. So it's a lot of things that go on the back end and the back office that high school parents don't rarely get a chance to even see or experience, because there is a plethora of transfers. There's not enough scholarships for all these transfer players that are out here now. Why? Because the rules to the NCAA have changed again, lifting the sit out rule. It is no longer a rule. There's no longer a requirement for you to have to sit out. There's no sitting out. Once you enter the transfer portal at every division now, you can play right away.
Now, we down here in Alabama, we dealing with something right now. Uh, the Alabama High School Athletic Association is creating a task force to try to stop kids from transferring when the college kids get to do it for free. They're trying to start obstacles for the people to transfer when the colleges are doing it freely.
So let me explain, because I used to be a high school teacher. So I understand what this is about, right? Um, this comes down to money, right?
Uh-oh.
So every kid that is enrolled in high school, they have a student unique, a SUNS number, SUNS. So that money, each kid, each high school, or I'm going to say school district, is getting money for each of the kids that is enrolled in that particular school district, right? And then, of course, the athletic budgets are also attached to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose of zoning, and I know you're going on, you can be like, okay, she's way, but the purpose of zoning is several things. For tax purposes, for one, school bonds, number two,
Yeah.
and again, the residence criteria also comes in. So if you allow coaches to just high school coaches to come in and just recruit kids from every high school. They see a kid over here, this high school, or that high school, and they just go and recruit that kid. That kid withdraws from that high school, goes over
Uh-huh.
to another high school and lacks the residential requirements
Uh-oh.
to be in to be zoned for that school district. Number one, busing, you have busing issues, zoning, all those things, transportation, all that plays a part. And
Mm-hmm.
so you will have, some challenges with with residency. So it's a little different than in college, because number one, of course, the kids are adults. They're 18, 19, and they have to be an in-state student. If it's a public school, they have to be in-state.
Mm-hmm.
There's an in-state tuition, there's an out-of-state tuition.
Okay.
So if you're out of state, you're going to pay a higher cost for tuition. You're in state, you're going to pay a less cost for tuition, right? If it's a private school, everybody pays the same thing. So with high school, again, you run into the risk of funding,
Yeah.
from one school district to the other. When you're moving these kids, they have these criteria: residency. You have to have your address. You have to live in the zoning of the school district.
Yep.
And a lot of parents, they don't understand that. And school hoppings, how does that look to a college
Uh-oh.
student? What do they call that? Where's the loyalty? We call it
Uh-oh.
school hopping. You're hopping from school to school, just like in a similar pattern. When we see kids bouncing from one AAU team to the other, you're bouncing from, where's the loyalty?
Yeah.
So if you're already establishing a pattern of high school hopping, you know,
So
that's
so
going to spill
so
all
here it
over
is,
to
Doc.
the
I don't mean to
student
cut you
public.
off, but
Hmm.
we
No,
need
no,
to
no, go ahead.
explain this. The parents need to know that the college coaches see this.
Well, they do.
A lot of them think that it ain't gonna matter. It does matter when it comes to funding and all that other stuff.
Yes, it does. It does matter. Fun is this. Everything is about money. What? Why are we? Why is the current administration attempting to dismantle education? Of course, that can't happen. That has to be an act of Congress, right? And I'm not trying to be funny, but that Congress has to formally dismantle the Department of
Yeah,
Education. So that's
that's
just
right.
an order that's just falling on deaf ears right now. But it's all about federal funding, Title One money that has been mainly was supposed to have been designed for low performing schools, schools in economically disadvantaged areas.
Yes,
And so what has happened over the years, title fund money is being passed out to schools, districts that feel that they need to provide extra tutoring to bring their scores up. And that's not what Title One is for. It's for, the children who are the school districts that are performing, below standards,
yes,
and that are in economically disadvantaged areas.
man.
So this federal funding, and then you combined with the Biden administration and the ESSER money, ESSER one and ESSER two, money that was given to public education. Some of that money never made it to the classroom. It went into the general fund and often into the pockets of higher administration, board members,
That's what I'm
principals,
starting to see.
things
A
like
lot
that.
of more high administrative positions.
Correct.
Wow.
So now what has happened is with the Easter money, with the dismantling of the Department of Education, then those federal funds, and basically what that means is, so what does that really mean? It means that the federal government is pulling away from education and turning it back over to the states. So the states really run the school, but they like federal funding because it's available and it's pretty much used as a cushion. So those funds are being scaled back. So with that being said, um, it's a political war that is going on in public education. It's a mess.
Oh man.
It's a
It's
hot mess. It's a hot mess. And
now.
contrary to belief, teachers, they quit teaching a long time ago. This is everything is based on test scores, and
Uh
that's
oh.
a teach to the test scores. So the kind of teaching, logic thinking, thinking on your own, thinking critical thinking skills, thinking outside the box. That's been gone years ago because school districts now they focus on testing. The state test is testing, and that's what they teach. The standards are geared towards state testing. They're just concerned about test scores.
Wow. Uh, I know you deal with the smaller schools, and you know, a lot of people don't know that those kids jump into the transfer portal as well.
Absolutely. Any kid in the NCAA Division One, Two, and Three, they're in the portal. Division One, Division Two, Division Three. Those are the NCAA. Just to be clear, the NCAA is the only division that has an actual portal database. The NAIA, they do not have a transfer portal. So if you go to one of those schools, you still get a paper release, right? They give you a piece of paper and then you fall off the radar. So that's that. Same goes for the JUCO transfers, junior colleges as well. So, the portal, all the kids are in the portal. If you want to get recruited by another NCAA Division I or Division II school or Division III, you have to enter the portal. You have to be in the portal. That's a requirement. So if you're not in the portal, you cannot be recruited by an
Whoa,
NCAA Division I, II, or III. So you have to you have to be in the portal.
wow. Uh, and a lot of people don't know this. Talk about you know, everybody probably wonder how did KT get her on? What it was about a month ago, you called me about a high school job up in Charlotte. They was looking for that coach, and you were like, I got somebody. I don't know if
Absolutely.
you believe
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Talk about that part. You helping high schools and colleges get coaches because you're gonna have to have great managers to, so it won't be a distraction. During the season, worrying about this, worrying about that. No, we here to play. And these high schools now are starting to get better managers. A lot of people think that these people be outstanding coaches. Yeah, but they have to learn how to manage all this talent because when they have to tell a parent, hey, you might need to do A, B, C, or D, instead of playing your sport, it comes from expertise. And a lot of schools don't have those coaches in place. And then a lot of kids come with unrealistic dreams that are not attainable. You got a 1.7 GPA, but you trying to go to University of Alabama. It ain't gonna happen. And then now a lot of people didn't know that the JUCO is not taking those kids with those low GPAs anymore, unless you just a blue chip 5-star for real. Uh, and the parents don't know that. They just thinking, it's the old way. Tell everybody how COVID really drastically changed everything for as the college recruitment process. That I be talking about it, but how other people, people respond when they hear other people say it. Talk about the impact of COVID. Back during that time.
Well, I want to, because I'm an educator, so I have to start with that 1.7 GPA. So, first of all, in order to receive FAFSA, so all the parents that are listening, anyone who is under the sound of my voice, in order to receive FAFSA, federal student aid money, Pell Grants, you must have a 2.0 GPA. You cannot get money for FAFSA requires a 2.0 GPA. So if you have anything below a 2.0, then you have to appeal. You have to do recommendations. It's virtually impossible. You have to have extenuating circumstance, a disability of some sort, and has to be documented. But if you possess below a 2.0, you not only will you not be able to get admitted into a college, but you will not be able to receive FAFSA. So just wanted to throw that out there. And right now, the Pell Grant funding, the money that students are receiving on a Pell Grant, is now $8,000, right? So if you do not have, a 2.0, you would not be able to qualify for, federal Pell Grant money, any type of subsidized or unsubsidized student loan money. So you want to keep that in mind. You will need at least a 2.0. Now, as far as what COVID has done, the changes. So the NCAA has basically given, with the most recent ruling here a couple of weeks ago. So if the students did not receive their COVID year, so everyone received a COVID year, right? COVID, they received the COVID year,
Yeah.
right? So if you uh, attended a junior college between 2021, 2022, and 2023, you were awarded an additional year if you attended a D1 school before 2024, right? So what does that mean? So what am I saying? So if a kid went to a junior college in 2021 and graduated in 2021, 2022, or 2023, they are eligible for an additional year at an NCAA Division One. You can only go to this, only applies for D1. It's only
Wow.
Division One. So they have granted the COVID year back for anyone who went to a junior college um, between 2021, 2022, and 2023. So they have been able to, meet those requirements and allow them to gain that COVID year back.
Man. But talk about the new rule with the JUCO.
Well, that is the new rule for junior college. You have to have graduated. If
So
so, say for example, if you went to a JUCO from 2021, you graduated in 2021, you graduated in 2022, you graduated in 2023. If you attended a JUCO during that time and you graduated, then you get an extra year of eligibility at the D1 level.
wow. So, what's the myth about the 2 years that don't count now?
So this is that, and that's exactly what it is. So there was a football player at Vanderbilt, at Vandy, that sued the NCAA for uh, an additional year for JUCO. And that ruling only applied to that one kid because that is now being appealed. So there is no rule where JUCO does not count. That was only for that one kid, that one football player who sued the NCAA because of his, eligibility situation or whatever was going on with Vanderbilt.
So, everybody's saying now JUCO don't count. So that means JUCO does count.
It does. So you only have 2 years of eligibility. So if you attend a JUCO, again, this is the JUCO rule for COVID. If you attend a JUCO in 2021, 2022, and 2023, and you graduated, now if you went 1 year JUCO and then you went to the D1 or to the D2 or D3, then you are not eligible to receive this extra year of eligibility. You must have attended JUCO from 2021 and graduated in 2021, 2022, 2023. If
Wow.
you did in those 3 years, then you get an extra year of eligibility at the D1 level only.
Oh,
So if you go D2, you still only have 2 years of eligibility. If you go D3, you still only have 2 years of eligibility.
wow. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people was around here assuming, oh, JUCO don't count anymore. We get to go do this. That was just for that one kid.
Right. And so for the people who want to challenge whether or not JUCO doesn't count anymore and think that you can play JUCO for 2 and 3 years, 2 and 3 years, then you go ahead, go right ahead, because if it is discovered by the NJCAA, then your team will lose all their games. They will be deemed ineligible for that one kid. and they will forfeit any and all games and or the season.
Wow. Oh, I know in the JUCO market, you got the Texas market and you got that Florida market. All JUCOs are different, and a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm going JUCO," but Florida, I know Mississippi, kind of good too. Those probably Georgia. You know, what are some of the other JUCO realms that are high tier? When it comes to JUCO, just scholarships. Just as good as some of the D1.
So junior colleges are structured in the same manner as the 4-year schools when it comes to scholarship money. So D1 JUCOs, they pay for housing, tuition, books. You get full scholarship opportunities at a D1 JUCO. At a D2 JUCO, everything is covered except for housing. So you have to take out an additional scholarship or loan for housing. Division 3 is very similar to Division 3 on the 4-year level. Nothing is covered. There are no sports scholarships for D3 JUCO.
Wow.
So right, so that it's the same structure, same thing. So D1, uh, full scholarship opportunities. D2, the housing is not covered. D3, you don't get any sports money. It's nothing.
I know in Alabama, a lot of the schools went Division 2, and then everybody was like, "What's the difference?" There it
Well,
is.
it is a
Dr.
difference.
Reeves just broke it down to you.
Yeah,
That's a
it
big
is a
difference.
difference. And the level of competition is different as well. It's
Yeah.
just like Division 1 4-year, the difference between D1 4-year and D2 4-year. Division 1 JUCOs, they compete differently than D2. And as far as the stakes, so just to do the breakdown of the divisions, the NJCAA has, I want to say, 24 regions. Now, that excludes the California JUCOs. The California JUCOs are not part of the NJCAA.
Yes.
And the NWAC, which is the Northwest Athletic Conference, which is Washington State, Oregon, and I want to say, Washington State and Oregon, they have their own division. So they're not part of the NJCAA.
Whoa, I ain't know that.
Oh, yeah, we call it the NWAC.
Oh my God.
Yes, South Puget Sound, Peninsula, Walla Walla, all those schools out there in Oregon and Washington State, Port Angeles, Washington, Portland Community College, Peninsula, uh, South Puget Sound, Walla Walla, all those schools out there. They do their own thing. California does
Wow.
their own thing.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so and then we have Canada, which they do their own things well. So there are top 10 JUCOs. There are only a few top 10 JUCOs in the nation. So normally even in Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, there are only a few top 10 JUCOs. They're only in the nation. This is the top 10. I know Trinity Valley is one of them, and I
Uh,
think Panola, Trinity Valley is way up there. So I don't know what the top 10 JUCOs, but they're the top 10. There are top 10 JUCOs in the nation. Yes. I don't know if there are any Florida schools. I'm not familiar who's on there, but there is a top 10 JUCO in the nation. And I know
wow.
Trinity Valley is one of those schools, Trinity Valley, in Texas. And I want to say, I think either Paris Junior
Yeah.
College,
Junior
and
college.
I
Yes.
want to say Miss Trinia, she's at Tyler.
Okay.
Tyler, I think Paris is on the list, but I know Trinity Valley.
What about
I know,
Mississippi Gulf Coast? You know, they've been
I
known
don't
to
think they're on the
produce.
top 10 with over there with Coach Hope
Uh
Adams. I don't think they're
oh,
on the top 10. Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot
I
of
mean,
people.
I'm not saying that they're not.
Well,
I'm
well,
not saying that they're not, but I don't think. I don't think.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I'm talking as the common person who think that our JUCOs are just top tier when it's some top tier schools that you might be need to be, marketing yourself to. You know, we get stuck over here, and then you end up in no man's land. Those
Right.
are the people who don't get no offers when they go to
Right.
JUCO,
Right.
and then you end up on a job. You know, when you had dreams of trying to make it to a top program. You know, uh,
You'll be the star at the local YMCA.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and that's why a lot of these high schools, just like I said earlier, they're going to managers. A lot of y'all thinking your coaches top tier. No, they are managers because they got to keep up with the kids' grades. They got to be able to do all this other administrative type stuff just to make sure the kid is marketable. Number one, and have the answers when these college coaches start calling for these particular kids. And it might not do you any good to have the best state championship coach because he might just emphasize on winning state championships and don't care if nobody goes, to the next level. So, that's why a lot of these schools now are going to these manager type coaches who really keep up or hire people in to do the recruiting side. Uh, a lot of people don't know about NAIA. Talk a little bit about NAIA, but guess what, doctor? We gonna take a little 58-second break, and we'll be right back. And we're gonna talk about NAIA when we come back. All right.
Okay. Sounds
Place
great.
to, there's two kids I'm trying to recruit. Now, are you hungry or you just want something to eat? Now, a hungry kid, he gonna make a mayonnaise sandwich. He gonna find a place to play. He gonna call all around to get in the gym. He gonna figure it out. But a kid who wants something to eat, he got a cabinet full of food. He just sitting at home waiting for somebody to cook it. He ain't trying to cook it. So does he practice? Yeah, because you asked him to. Does he work out? Yeah, because like, come on, let's work out. But he ain't hungry. And so when you get to the Division I level, we got to get guys who are hungry. We don't need guys who just want something to eat. But for a parent has to raise, you're raising one or two kids. You're either raising a wolf or a sheep. Now, you raise a sheep, you're going to have to protect them all the time. And that's what's happening to parents. They want to protect their kids all the time because that's a sheep. You always got to protect the sheep. You can't never leave a sheep alone. That's what it is. But a wolves will find other wolves will find some way to eat. And they have to realize that. Because struggle builds character. They're trying to take away the struggle and there's no character being built.
We are back, y'all. Once again, we are back here live. Once again, it's Let It All Out Monday. But we got a special guest on tonight, Dr. Reeves, Dr. Kathy Reeves. I'm telling you, uh, she does an outstanding job with the transfer portal, helping the coaches, the players, and the parents. With her services. Doctor, are you back?
I am.
Okay. Y'all, we got the doctor on. We're gonna talk about y'all. These are options, and I just you already know me, doctor. You know I'm very blunt when I say certain things. So my disclaimer: if you have a junior that's going to be a senior next year, you need to be listening very carefully because this might be your only option. Talk a little bit about NAIA and some of the other divisions that you serve, coach. I mean,
Well, I
doctor.
want to go. I want to piggyback on what you said. If you are a junior or a senior in high school, you need to be getting in the eligibility center. And I'm going to give you that website again. It's called eligibilitycenter.org for the NCAA. And then there is the playnaia.org for the NAIA schools. And what are NAIA schools? Is the National Athletic Intercollegiate Association. Those are 4-year schools that are accredited In the same manner that the NCAA, they have amazing majors. They produce doctors, they produce lawyers, nurses. They have an excellent academic program. There are approximately 250 NAIA schools across the nation. A lot of them are mainly in the Missouri, in Iowa, Minnesota area. You know, they're all over, but they encompass the most of them are in the Missouri area. And so those schools, and believe it or not, they're raising their level of competition as well, because they are also requiring recruitable stats as well.
Uh-oh.
There's that word again, recruitable stats. And if your stats are under double digits, they may or may not want you. They may require you to come in and do a workout of some sort, or if you're a football, they may have you come and do some type of scrimmaging that may or may not be going on.
Wow.
So, you know, the NCAA is not the only athletic division. There is the NAIA. There's also the NCCAA, which is the National Christian Collegiate Athletic Association. And then there is the USCAA, which is also another athletic division that has a set of 4-year colleges and universities that are also accredited colleges and universities.
Man, it's if and I know one of the schools here won the state title, and one of the kids ended up going to John Melvin. Have you ever heard of them?
John Melvin, I have not, but it does not mean
I
that
think
it
it's a
doesn't exist.
UC
You know, there was a
CAA. I know you deal with so many, you can't
so
keep up
many.
with
It's
them.
over a million. There's over a million schools in the United States, but you know, we do know that Hobart, Hobart D3 had
Yeah,
they drafted someone in the NFL from Hobart College.
yeah.
So yeah, all over. They're all over. So and what is very important for these parents and students to do is to do your research on the levels of accreditation.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
hey, here we go. I have parents calling me.
The different levels of accreditation,
Yeah.
because you
All colleges are not accredited, y'all. I'm gonna say
no,
that
they're
again.
not. They do not have the same level of accreditations. Now, the National Christian Collegiate Athletic Associations, those are TRAC accreditations, and which means that your degrees will only be good in the state where the school is located, and
Wow.
or in Christian settings, private Christian. So say, for example, you attended a NCCA school that has a track accreditation, you can only, and you wanted to teach school, well, you would not be eligible for public schools because your school lacks the proper accreditation. You will be able to only work in Christian schools, Christian universities, things of that nature.
Oh man.
You have to do your research on these accreditations.
I tell people all the time, it's nothing wrong with learning something new every day.
You
And
have to learn, you got to do your research on these accreditations.
y'all, this is very important. Y'all like to share all type of other stuff. You need to be sharing this stuff so you can go back and watch it again, because I'm telling you, she's giving you some stuff. The doctor's giving you some stuff that you're gonna be able to use, especially if you have kids in school. Uh, talk about how can I, just say I got a kid that's that's that needs to be in the transfer portal, but I don't have a clue what we're doing. what can you do? Because I done found out 40 to 50% of the kids that go in the portal never come out.
Well, there's still kids that are in there from last season and the season before that. So when you enter the portal, you have to have a plan on how to get out.
Uh-oh.
You cannot just go in and say, I'm going to sit here until a coach finds me, because they may never find you.
Ooh.
There's no magic potion. Nobody is going to descend upon a person that's in the transfer portal. They just come down from the sky and say, hey, I'm going to recruit you. Recruiting is a business. And we have a lot of uh, people that parents, students, transfers, they happen to miss the part of recruiting that is a business, that is a service. So when you go into the transfer portal, you have to have a plan to get out. What is your plan to get out? Are you going to invest in some services to help you get out, or you're just going to stay in the portal and sit by the phone and wait until a coach calls you? Well, what happens if the coach never calls you, and then you go and you enroll in a 4-year university taking 12 hours? Well, guess what? When you enroll in 12 hours, you're going to lose your year of eligibility, because when you enroll in 12 or more credit hours, that counts as the year of your eligibility, whether you're playing or not. So a lot
Wow.
of kids say, oh, but I'm not playing. Well, if you're enrolled in 12 credit hours, then that is the same as eligibility. You will lose a year of eligibility.
I learned that doing the prep school when I was doing
Yes,
good elite prep.
yes,
Our kids couldn't sign up for 12 hours unless they wanted to
yes,
start the clock.
correct.
Uh, I'm telling you, man, it's just so much.
It's a
If you
lot.
got any
It's several
questions in the
layers.
in the comments, put them in the comments. Uh, and we'll try to get to them. But I'm telling you, man, this is valuable. This is a valuable night for the people that watch our show. I know y'all come here for the news, but this great news is somebody uh need to hear this. Because we found out that JUCO does count.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we found this out on the show. That a lot of
Yes, it
people say, "Oh,
does. If
JUCO
you
don't count."
attended JUCO, you graduate from JUCO, you have 2 years of eligibility left. If you graduated in 2024, if you graduate this year, you go into a D1, you have 2 years left. If you graduated between 21, 22, and 23, you have an extra year eligibility there
Yeah.
if you go to a D1. But if you go D2, you only have 2 years eligibility left.
Oh, I know it was something else I wanted to talk about. Dealing with that. Coming out of JUCO, how many people get left out? Uh, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna go to JUCO and then I'm gonna move on." What advice would you give? Would you rather go to JUCO with somebody saying, "Okay, once you get out of there, we're gonna keep recruiting you," then just go JUCO and kind of like burn some people? Because man, I done seen some kids turn down Division II offers to go JUCO because of the myth that they were saying it wasn't gonna count against you. Can those players reopen their recruitment to the 4-year schools if they had the academic background?
So, so there's a compliance layer that comes in. So when first of all, you have to have JUCO eligibility. You can only, if you're a sophomore at a 4-year, you don't have JUCO eligibility anymore. You have to be a freshman. But if
Uh-huh.
you have 2 years of college and at a 4 year, your eligibility for JUCO is gone. So there's a compliance layer that's there. And also we have another layer of JUCOs, kids who graduate from the JUCOs and still do not have the correct credits to go
Wow.
forward to the 4 year school.
So they've been taking the wrong classes while they were in
Correct.
JUCO?
Correct. They have to be transferable. I had a 6'4" kid graduate from Panola College. We tried to tell her, listen, this basketball class is not going to transfer. She didn't listen. She was not eligible for D1 schools. She had to go to summer school and take some classes, and she didn't do that. So she transferred NAIA. She had to sit out. She couldn't
Wow.
play. Yeah, she couldn't play. She sat out the first semester because she was ineligible. Then she played the second semester. So you still run into, when you graduate from the JUCO, you still may not be eligible. You may be short 3 or 4 credits.
I'm gonna take this is it. This the one that I want to talk about. The kids that come back to college that are never been to college, and now I can see a lot of trends of some of the top, just saying football players who set out a year or two. Now they coming back to Division II schools. How does that hurt the high school recruit when that happens?
Well, again, if a kid has sat out and is no longer marketable, they will have to show themselves approved
Yeah,
before they are given any scholarship money or any spot on a roster or on a field.
yeah. And I'm gonna tell you this. I've noticed too, a lot of the Division II schools, they have like 100-man rosters in the spring. Is is that like a tryout period for a lot of those smaller schools to get you in for the spring training?
Well,
Uh,
actually, no. What they're doing is they have JV teams. Those are junior varsity teams. Those are development teams. So yes, they have a JV team and they have the varsity team.
wow.
Yeah, and that same thing is happening with D2. They have a development team, and then
Okay.
they have a varsity team. So that's what's happening. They have JV. So when you see 100-man roster, it's JV and varsity all together.
Okay.
But
But
if you
only so many
notice,
of them get to
yeah,
travel.
if you notice that the starters, the first 11 that are out there are always from the varsity. They're never from the JV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's another new trend that, we starting to see. What are some of the other trends? Once a kid gets in college and they jump in the transfer portal, and just say that you find them a particular school, should you respond to that as the last option, or should you try to continue to pursue other things? Just say I went to a Division II school, but now I'm trying to go to Texas A&M, and I don't have a plan, but I'm not budging when an NAIA school try to get me. Talk a little about realistic dreams a little bit, doctor. For me.
So you should always respond to any coach that reaches out to you, whether they're saying something that you may or may not be interested in. You should always use it as a learner, as a teachable moment. Everything is a teachable moment. So if a coach is reaching out to you, you should always respond. right? So always respond. And so now, with response to the second question, there is that word again,
Uh-oh.
recruitable stats.
Oh Lord.
What are your numbers on the football side? What are your rushing yards? What is your yardage? How many interceptions have
Yeah.
you caught? How many wide
Tackle.
receivers? How many balls hit the ground? No, just go there. Did you receive? What is your your receivable numbers?
I
So
had I had last year, and I was on a show, and kids were dropping passes, and some of the parents got mad because I said something about it, but they don't understand from the recruiting side. They can go find somebody else that's gonna catch every pass.
well,
It's no
for
shade being thrown. It's an observation that you need to take seriously.
well,
You know?
it's again that's the transfer portal has changed the trajectory of high school recruiting.
Yeah. I'm talking about it's major. Because now
Especially
I can go find somebody who haven't been playing a year and bring them back, or go give me a major league baseball player who decided to retire, and talk a little bit about that too. That aspect of those pro baseball players coming back, to play other sports. How
so
that's recruiting.
when you declare a draft,
Uh-huh.
uh, your uh your ID, your clearinghouse ID number is retired. So for example, if you enter the draft and you do not get selected, you can go back to school, but you cannot compete in any NCAA sports.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't compete because once you go, so you have to be very careful. So we had a lot of with the WNBA drafts coming up. We had some, Flausier Johnson, where
Yeah.
LSU had decided she was going to go in, then she decided not to. She's going to stay and graduate. So
Hmm.
when you take on an agent, you declare to go into a draft of some sort. Um, you can't, once you go pro, you can't go back and play. You can go back and finish your education, but you can't go back and compete under the NCAA school. You can't play. So
That's
that.
that's been my hardest pill so far. A lot of these kids have great NIL deals. I probably would ride it out. You know what I'm saying? And then declare, even if I'm good enough to go to the NBA, some of the deals that some of these players have, shoot, you can ride it out and be way ahead than going to the NBA or NFL, you know, early.
Well, so some of these kids, again, NIL is not always money. So
Okay.
that's a huge misperception that these kids are getting money. Only the top kids, the Juju Watkins, the Madison Bookers, the Paige Beckers, and whoever these top football recruits are, players,
Cooper
on the men's
flag and all
side,
them folks.
yeah, they're the only ones that probably getting money. But all NILs are not money.
Yeah.
And even though a kid is receiving NIL money in college, does not guarantee that they're going to, when they attend the NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, it does not necessarily mean that they're going to be selected because they received the NIL. That doesn't determine talent.
Yeah. 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 But man, I know the big question out there is uh when do you plan on doing another one of those big showcases like we did in at Clayton State for the basketball people? Uh, and then my question is, do you think that now it's time to start doing those type of showcases for the football players?
Well, it's all now is always the time, because when you're scheduling these events, you want to give the coaches an opportunity to put these events on their calendars, coupled with other things that they're doing. So 4 to 6 weeks out is always a good
Yeah,
time frame for a coach. And I'm going to rephrase that question and say, when are we going to do another showcase
yeah.
similar to the one at Clayton State?
Oh
So,
yeah,
yes. So when are we going to do another showcase
yeah.
similar
We
to the
gonna
one at Clayton
yeah, we
State?
definitely gonna have to do one.
All right.
Especially for basketball.
All right.
Basketball definitely needs one. For us the transfer portal. What if a coach uh don't sign all of his scholarships? Can they still pick up kids like over the summer? Like back in
Absolutely.
the day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so yes, absolutely. I mean, they sign kids until the money runs out.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
some
just asking
schools,
questions because
yeah,
the people not asking so I'm just coming up with questions so we
yeah,
can get
they
those
sign
answers out
kids
there.
until the money runs out, and or until they fill their roster spots. Now, if they've fill all their roster spots, then, for example, I have a client in the SIAC D2. They're looking for 11 players.
Wow.
They all the kids are all the guards. They're all the kids are graduating.
So they're looking for a
They
whole
only
nother
have four
team.
kids. They only have four kids left after
Oh my
everybody
God.
graduates. They're gone. She
So
needs
y'all
11
here
players.
first. Y'all, we about to do a big showcase. Y'all get ready. Oh man.
Yeah, she needs 11 players. I said, what? She said, yeah, we need 11 players. I said, oh my Lord. And including the recruits that I recruited there for her, they're graduating, they're gone.
All right.
Same goes for another D2 in Atlanta. He's got three of my kids are graduating. They're 6'1". They're 6'1" kids. So
Wow.
yeah, she needs 11 players.
Wow. How about this one? The kid that signs with a scholarship and they still playing AAU ball and they're high school senior. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm still
I'm still
thinking. I'm
thinking.
still
I'm still
thinking.
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 What's
Yeah.
the purpose? What's the
I,
purpose of that kid still playing AAU ball after they already signed?
Well, one of two things: either the coach that signed them is not aware that they're playing AAU basketball, or the parents and the coach of the AAU team that they're playing for is not aware that that kid has been signed. Because you see, if that kid gets hurt while playing AAU and is not able to fulfill, they have to be released. So see, this is what happens whenever a kid signs or commits to a school. When you decommit, you have to be released. So if you're assigned to play a sport in the fall and you go and you get injured, you're still committed. That doesn't change anything. You're still committed. You have to be released.
So, I see football players who sign and then a lot of them running track. Would you recommend not running track that year if you already signed a football scholarship?
Well,
Because you
if
got
you
to fulfill your scholarship obligations.
well, what you always run the risk of doing is suffer sustaining an injury. And if you have signed to play a sport in college, you have to run the risk if you're still participating in spring sports.
Yeah.
If you're still participating in spring sports, you still run the risk of sustaining an injury. I had a kid that played for Elizabeth City State. She went home to Florence, South Carolina. She did a pickup game at the Y, and she tore her ACL.
Wow.
She had to have surgery, and I don't even think she's playing anymore. She's a 5'10". She's a 5'10" guard. She went home for the summer. She played a pickup game, and she tore ACL playing a pickup game at
So
the
she
Y.
got released from her scholarship.
Yeah, they released her.
Wow. So y'all, we gaining. I know y'all go to these tournaments and y'all see these players who sign these scholarships. Uh, some of y'all need to be screen recording this information. Because this is vital. Information. Y'all that we getting firsthand. Y'all, this firsthand information, y'all, that we're gaining here. Uh, it and some of these AAU teams, y'all need to start telling those directors that if those kids get hurt, a lot of them say they're trying to get a bigger offer. How can you
Well,
get a bigger?
let's talk about that. If you've already committed, they can't even talk to you. So what are we doing?
Wow.
If you've signed, if you've committed to another school, that's an NCAA violation. They're not going to talk to you. They can't talk to you. They can't.
Wow.
That's a violation. I
So
can't. I can't talk. I mean, I don't recruit you. Once you're, I can say congratulations. But once you've signed, you've committed. That's it. I mean, my coaches, my clients, they can't talk to you. It's an NCAA violation. That's an NAI. They can't do that. That's an NAIA violation. That's a violation. So they're not going to talk to you if you have been committed. You have to decommit if the coach agrees to release you, because you have to go through the whole process. When you sign a national letter of intent, you've already committed to those funds, because it's really a scholarship. That's money. So you have to. It's the same as though when you go in the portal in December, if you didn't want to play anymore or what have you, you have to be released. The coach has to release you.
wow.
Yeah, they can't talk.
We
If
got
you
I
committed,
know for a fact,
they
y'all,
can't
I
talk to you.
referee games and I see these kids who already signed. They out there still trying to play basketball when they should be really just training. Uh,
Well, well,
um,
once a coach finds out that they're signed or committed, there's no talking. I mean, they can't talk to the coaches anyway, because it's dead. It's during the time it was dead period during from April, I think, till the 7th, when they were at the WBCA. From the 4th to the 7th was dead period for the NCAA. So there was no recruiting going on anyway. But if a kid is committed, has signed and committed, not a verbal commit. If it's verbal, that really doesn't mean anything. If they have officially signed and committed, they cannot be recruited by any other coach.
I
They
got
can't
I
even
got
be
one
approached.
question.
What's
I
that?
got one question.
Your
Would
question?
you consider training a risk after a kid signs?
Well, once you're signed, is done. I mean, what you need to be preparing to do is to go to college.
Yeah,
So all that other stuff you need to be uh, looking to see what your academic advisor you need once you admitted to the school. There are things that you're gonna have to do once you get admitted. You're gonna be assigned an advisor. You got to get your classes. You have orientation. You have to set up your usernames, your passwords. You have things to do. There are things that you should be doing when you have, signed and committed to a school. You need to be preparing to go to school.
yeah. And my thing is this. For us the training, you need to be communicating with the school to see what you need to be working on. See, a lot of people go out here and play these old bootleg training games. You know, they go out there and do some 7-on-7 with. No, you need to be doing specifically what the college coach wants you to be doing. Now,
Well,
if you
first of
get
all,
injured doing that, then that's
absolutely.
another issue. But if you just out there, I'm gonna go out here and train with such and such, and then now we doing 7-on-7. No, it's time for me to cut that short. I'm not doing no 7-on-7 unless my college coach tell me that's what I need to be working on. And
Well,
go ahead.
well, the athletes report early, so they go. They used to go in July. They go in
Yeah,
June now, so they're gonna be in school.
some of them gonna be in the school at the end of May.
You
Uh,
know?
we
So
got
no,
we got a kid here.
oh
His
yeah.
team won the basketball state championship, but he signed a football scholarship to Arkansas State. He out of here in May.
Well,
He
that's what
out
I'm
of here. I'm
saying.
talking about
So
he
yeah,
gone.
absolutely. So
You know,
they
Arkansas
but
State want to see their investment.
absolutely.
You know,
So yeah, no. So we're not doing it all. Once you sign, it's time to then because what has to happen is you're competing for a position. There are several people that are in your position. When you're signed to a position, they're signing two or three people for the same position. So you have to try out for that position. So you have two people competing for the same position.
yeah.
So it's no more. The athletes report in June, again May, June, July. They're there early. They're already there before the other kids come. So it's time to go. It's no time
My
for that.
thing, my thing too for the basketball commits. If you have signed, do not go play no AAU basketball.
Well,
Do not
I
go
don't.
play AAU basketball.
Well, again, I don't know how that's possible because they have to report to school in June and July.
You know, I know it looks good, to see the kid one or two more times, but y'all, we're gaining valuable information. We have to use this information to make our region better. If we don't
Absolutely.
use it, and then our kid goes out there and get hurt playing in a meaningless AAU game, then we on our own program anyway. You deserve to lose that scholarship. Y'all, is that cutthroat? You deserve to lose it.
Well, you're gonna lose it because you can no longer perform to the requirements of what you signed because now you're injured. So you're definitely going. You can't play when you're injured. So you're definitely going to be released. So you're definitely going to lose the scholarship. It's just like those recruitable stats. You are no longer recruitable. When you're injured, you're no longer recruitable.
And that's what people need to know. A lot of people be guessing and doing it their way. And I'm telling you, man, Don't miss, don't miss out on a great opportunity trying to impress people who gonna talk about you when you lose it. And we spend a lot of time trying to impress meaningless people. I'm not saying they're not good people, but those are not the people that put you on scholarships. You know, what advice do you give to parents? Oh Lord, here we go. On their conduct during the recruitment process and college process of their kids, because a lot of them, oh, my kid going D1 anyway, and then now some of those lower level coaches end up at those schools. You sign a scholarship to go to Alabama, and then just say the coach at University of Mobile ends up on the staff at Alabama, and you piss them off when you in high school. Talk about some of the things that the parents need to be focusing on, so they won't get caught up in the hoopla of trying to impress people by down talking schools. What are some of the things they can do?
Well, let me start from I'm going to start from the high level on the college side.
Okay.
Coaches do not communicate with parents during the season. Do not get upset with your child's coach because they will not communicate with you during the season. We have parents who feel that the coaches should be in communication with them. Some coaches do, some do not, but it is the right of the college coach not to communicate with the parents under FERPA law, because your child is 18, you are an adult. So when you are at these D1 schools, D1, D2, D3, JUCO, it is the coach's discretion to 100% completely ignore you if he or she so chooses to. That is their right. Okay. You cannot go to the ADs who, oh, they won't talk to me, go to the president. That is their right. Under FERPA law, it's called FERPA.
God, we
Secondly,
learned everything tonight.
secondly, these recruiting is recruiting the family. The coaches are, they use services. There are several services similar to what I do. We are the middleman. What do? We bring the kids looking for scholarships and the coaches who have scholarships that are looking to award scholarships. We bring those two entities together. We are the middleman. So they will say, um, tell me about this kid. I already know what that means. Did you talk to the parents? What, how are they behaving? Would you recommend, will there be any issues from these parents? Are the parents going to be a problem? So they're
Ooh, say
recruiting
that
this.
again. Say that again. Go back and say all that back again. We gotta hear that twice. We got to hear it again. Because I get tired of saying it on this show. Could you please say that again for us?
Well, when they come to me, when my clients, which is the college coaches, come to me and they say, Miss Reeves, and they call me, depending on the relationship, they call me, Kathy or Miss Reeves, Cat. What, coach? What? Tell me about this kid. That translates to me
Uh-oh. We ain't lose you, did you, doctor? Did we lose you? Did we lose the doctor? Tell you. Well, I'm telling you, we getting some valuable points. Doctor, I don't think we can hear you. Uh, if you can hear her, put it in the comments, but I can't hear her on my end. Let's see. Tell you, it froze up on my end. So, well, boy, we getting some valuable information. Y'all need to share this, and share this. That's all I can say. Man, let me see if the doctor on. I'm gonna turn on one of the lives and see. Cause I can't hear. I might have to go out and come back in. Oh man. Oh, she froze. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, man, this is some valuable advice. Oh man. Oh my God, y'all. We like to share negative stuff, y'all. We need to share this. I need at least about 40 or 50 shares of this. Share it to all your groups you're in. They need to hear this. They need to hear this. Oh my God. I'm waiting on her to call back. Man. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Y'all, we get some valuable information here tonight. Do not take this information for granted. I'm telling you. The doctor is on here and y'all, she laying the law. She trying to help us with all our, just like any doctor, here she come, y'all. She on her way back. Here come the
So why do
doctor.
we need these phones if when they go dead? What is the purpose of the phone when if it goes dead? What do we do? So, but anyway, so back to what we were saying. When they
Back to the
ask me,
pants. Hold on, y'all. Let me get her back on the screen. Let me look. Let me beautify the screen a little bit. Hold on,
you
y'all.
said
Let's get her back on the
No, my
screen. Y'all need
goodness.
to hear this. Oh, hold on, that
So,
ain't her. Hold on. Let me get her back on the screen here. Hold on. Here we go.
oh my God.
Let me flip over. There you go. Let me get back in the back seat. I'm on the
So
passenger side tonight.
when they say, "Tell me about this kid," I already know they want to know, is the are the parents going to be a problem? They want to know, have I spoken? Did you speak to the parents? Have you had a conversation with them? What's going on with them? Are they going to be a problem? That's what they want to know. Are they going to be a problem? And those are the questions that they ask. And also, those things will make or break a coach's decision. Because see, here's what we have to. Here's the deal. There are just too many. There are so many kids, and so what happens is, for example, the kids that are in the Mobile. See, the parents are you just in Mobile. You're just right there, just right there in Mobile. We're dealing with kids in Portland, Oregon, in the NWAC, in the California Community College Association, in the NJCAA. They have 24 regions. Then we're dealing with Division 3 schools. We're dealing with Division 1, 2, 3 kids. We got kids from Canada. We got international kids. So there's an abundance of everything. We don't have to put up with anything. We don't have
Wow.
to put up
A
with
lot of people don't
we
understand
can
it.
pick and choose.
Yeah.
So right. So when you just because you bounce a ball or throw a ball or tennis, what have you, you're not in control. The coaches with the people with the money are in control.
Yeah.
And money is quiet. It's quiet. The
Oh,
bank is quiet. Investment firms quiet. Coaches quiet. Because all they have to do is wave that pen. Money is quiet. Money does not is not hell raising. Money is quiet.
that is. Yeah.
Money is quiet. So you go in somewhere, raising havoc in the stands. The coaches are not going to address you. They're quiet. They're going to look at you. They're going to assess. They're going to walk out. You're going to call them. They're not going to respond because they have seen you in action. Money is quiet. They're not going to give you that much. They're not going to bring that drama to their team. They're already got gray hairs. They're dealing with administration. They already have enough going on. Do you realize how difficult it is for a coach to be with responsible for a team, traveling from state to state, being responsible for somebody's child from October until May, March? I'm sorry, 120 days.
Wow.
I couldn't do it. It's impossible.
Wow.
We when I used to teach middle school, I'm walking kids to lunch till you got to escort them everywhere, and that's just one class of what 23 to 32 kids. Just imagine you have a team on a bus or you're flying. You're with these kids for 120 days,
Wow.
and then we got to deal with parents that are raising hell. That's not going to happen. No, we're not doing that. No, that's not happening.
My thing is this: parents need to value the college recruiting process more. Get to know those coaches during the process, so now when you get there, you won't be scrambling when they stop talking to you.
Well,
You know.
they're right, correct. And if you have, and all of this is timing. Everything is about timing, right? Everything is timing in this business. If you have an offer before the transfer portal opens, they're probably going to stop calling
Uh oh.
because now they're on these portal kids.
So time out. Time out. So if you got an offer right now, you might need to be committing
It might be
because
going.
when that portal
It
swings
might be.
open on
Let me tell
April the 16th, you might be left out.
when the portal opened on March the 24th at 12:01, it was like the stock market. It was like trading. It was crazy. So when that was a game changer.
Oh my God.
That's a game changer.
So as a high school parent, you need to know when that portal is about to come open because really that's when you need to be making your decisions because
Well,
that might help the school that you're trying to go to too.
well,
Because now if
right,
you commit, now they get to say, hold on, do we really
right.
want them? You know what I'm saying? So you won't be left out, and a lot of people think kids get offers and then they keep following. No,
No.
you almost got to get re-recruited every time a transfer portal period ends.
Well, right. Well, I mean, in high school is it again the hierarchy: D1, D2, D3, JUCO, and then high school.
Wow.
Division 1 portal,
Even
Division
NAIA.
2 portal,
Oh,
Division 2 portal, Division 3. Well, the NAIA is D3/NAIA, so they're in there.
yeah.
Then 2 year, and then high school. Because
Wow.
see, they don't have time to really develop kids anymore. They're not developing. Very few people are developing kids anymore because there's no loyalty, because they're bouncing from place to place in the portal.
Ooh, can you please say that again?
They're not developing kids anymore. No, they're not developing kids anymore because there's no loyalty.
Wow.
It is no
Oh my
loyalty. I
God.
think the only universities, UConn doesn't have any kids in the portal, Syracuse doesn't have any kids in the portal, and I think LSU, I don't think they have any kids in the portal right now. But UConn doesn't have any kids in the portal.
Wow.
Syracuse doesn't have any kids in the portal. Any women's basketball. Let me back up. I don't know about men or other sports. Talking about women's basketball. They don't have any women's basketball players in the portal from UConn, from Syracuse, and from my understanding from uh, LSU.
Man. Oh, oh Lord. Here it is. Here go the elephant in the room. We're gonna talk about the quarterback from Tennessee holding out. How did that hurt the high school kids? Because now everybody's probably watching to see what happens after that kid held out. He didn't go to practice on Friday. Uh,
Who is this person? Who is this person?
the quarterback from Tennessee. I can't think of his last name. But from your expertise, what do you think?
I
Can you hear
think
me?
the sound went out.
Okay. Uh,
What do I think regarding the holding out of a kid?
yeah, well, yeah, the kid's holding out now. He the first one to ever do it. Uh, I guess for more money or whatever deals or whatever. How does that further hurt the high school kid? Because if you have those similar, oh, I wonder how much NIL money I'm gonna get. If you asking those type questions, uh, how does that hurt you now? Because I know it's a bunch of college coaches that don't like
And they keep moving, and we keep moving. You want to hold out, then keep moving. We keep moving. I mean, he may be replaced, and he may not even know it. So we're. This is a very fluid business, and it's ever changing. It's very fluid. It changes. uh, the, the the board, the round one recruiting, round two, round three, whoever's on the D1 board, the D2 board, it changes. It's this business is very fluid. He may be replaced and he just may not know it.
Yeah.
But we keep moving. So if and there are kids that are holding out right now with they're waiting for a D1 to call them, and their stats are they had 0 points and 0 rebounds. Their stats are 0 and 0, but they think they're going back D1 because of the $20,000 that they were receiving a year from the D1 school on top of the 8,000, and not having to pay any type of money for education or anything. They're thinking that they're going back D1. You're not. Your desire to want to go back D1 is not a requirement for you to go back D1. The requirement is recruitable stats, marketability, not because you have the desire that you want to go back D1.
He said he might opt out the whole season.
Well,
Wow.
and guess what? And it's gonna continue. The season will move forward, and he'll just opt out, and he can, and that's okay. And you can opt out, but it won't stop the season. That's why
Yeah.
we have round. That's why we have first string, second string, third string. That's why we have those. So you're
Yeah.
just making an opportunity for the next person.
I want you to talk about the time. I'm gonna move on to another subject. Talk about the time where you called a kid telling them that they had an opportunity to go somewhere and they kind of shunned it off when they didn't have nowhere else to go.
We keep moving. We don't show any emotion. We don't show any emotion. There's too many kids. We don't show any emotion. It's a simple okay.
Everybody
It's a
think,
simple with us is a okay, thank you. This is a business. It's not personal. It's
yeah.
business. And recruiting has always been a business.
Oh man. Oh,
Always been a business. So it's always been a business, right? So even what we're doing, this is a business. I'm on your show because why? Because it's building relationships. Because 10 years ago, you came to see about me with the other people. So you said, I'm going to come to the show. Yeah, okay. I'm going to come help you. You said, I'm going to come help you. I said, okay. I didn't think you were. And you came and you helped. You did assisted with drills. You coached. You refereed. You did those things. So now I'm going to be wherever you need me to speak or what have you. I'm going to show up. But parents fail to realize that recruiting is a business. So it isn't, you invest in your child. You have to invest in your child. And
say that again. Say that
you
part
have
again,
to
because I don't think
invest in
somebody
your
heard.
child. You have to invest in your child, right? So you cannot just assume that because that I'm going to invest in your child and you not invest in your child. You have to invest in your child. And you can't just assume because we're the same demographics that I'm going to expound all this information and because it's not anybody's responsibility to help your child get a scholarship except the parent. I have 4 kids, they're grown now, but my oldest son and my second oldest son, one got a football scholarship, the other one received a basketball scholarship. But at the end of the day, had they not received these scholarships money, it's my responsibility as a parent. The
Ooh,
parent's
you said
responsible.
something then. Oh my God.
The coach is not responsible for getting a scholarship for your child. The parents are responsible. So there's again, and it goes back to the transfer portal. When you go in the portal, you don't. Um, there's nobody there. There's nobody there to just come in and descend upon you and just say, "Hey, here I am. I'm going to recruit you. Oh, thank you for the help." No, it's not. It's called a service.
Uh-oh. It costs money for services.
It's a
Yep.
service.
Yeah.
Yes, if you, I can do my own hair. I don't. I chose not to. I pay for that service. So if you want to recruit your child yourself, that's what you cannot, recruit someone else to help you recruit your child. If you don't know how to recruit your child, then you have to do it yourself. You have to pay for services.
That's the thing. That's the thing that, you know, we trying to teach people here on our show, without saying that we teaching them. A lot of people look at you as a regular person. No, we're not regular.
We're
We
not
know a
regular.
lot of people that can help you. So when you talk bad about the people that can help you, you kind of like push yourself in a corner
Right.
where almost you're limited. Oh man, KT pisses me off, but I wouldn't say it publicly. I wouldn't
Right.
say it privately to make people turn against that person when that person you don't know the room. That person,
Absolutely.
a lot of people on this show didn't even know I did a showcase at Clayton State University, y'all, and we had how many coaches? 500.
More than I even. It was amazing. I was just
Y'all,
blown
we had
away.
500 college coaches
Yeah.
that put their trust in Ms. Reeves, and
Right.
it helped me
Yes,
as an
and they've
individual.
never seen me before. And these people entrust me. They subscribe to this college transfer report based on my customer service, my dedication, my hard work, what they see on Twitter. These people have never met me. They've never met me. They've
This the
never,
thing.
they've
This the
renewed, and they have renewed their services. They've renewed this transfer report because the product, the service, I'm connecting them immediately with transfers. I'm putting them together. I'm making it. And so they've never seen me, but they entrust in my service. If you can get someone to buy into your idea, that is the most powerful thing,
yeah,
because I'm just saying, I'm not getting into politics. I'm not going to do anything, but just this person was able to convince the people, and into they bought into his idea.
yeah.
And now they are having, may or may not be having regrets or whatever, second thoughts or whatnot, but they bought into an idea.
That's the
And
thing.
everybody is not gonna, everybody doesn't buy into the idea. So, is your marketing strategy is not for everybody.
Yes. And my thing is you never know who really can help you. Y'all, nothing times anything equals nothing. So y'all, I can't say, oh, I'm the plug. No, you have to pay to be around the plug. So instead of me advertising that I know all these people, I just advocate for everybody. you know. And one thing Icon Sports Southeast does, we promote the right people on this show. And if a kid not getting promoted, it might be the parent. And then sometimes it's the kid. So at the end of the day, y'all, if a kid is not getting promoted on this show, it's not because we don't like them. They're not ready to be promoted. And,
Absolutely.
that be the thing. It's timing in everything. Everything shall be done in decent and in order. It's an order to everything. So one thing can't be out of order, then we trying to fix it over here while we trying to sell the product. No, you got to fix all of it at once. And y'all, you'll never catch KT throwing holding a grudge on anybody because I'm professional. Professional people don't do that. We don't do that. It's a business.
This is a business, and it's
It's a
nothing for you.
business.
So you cannot. So please do not come to us. Come to the persons, because we have the same demographics, the hue, possibly black and brown. we and assume that our services have no value because when it's free, I don't want it. If it doesn't have a value, I don't want it. So
Exactly.
you cannot assume that these services are going to be expounded upon you because of the demographics of which we look alike or what have you. That's
Yeah.
not how this works.
And we had 500 coaches there, and Miss Reeves, she can attest that I probably know all 500. and
I
y'all,
was
instead of
it was just
bragging on,
amazing. It was a and people came to my rescue because when you really have a passion about something,
yep,
you're dedicated, you're excited, and things of that nature. And I see my granddaughter is texting me, so we're gonna have to take a break here, or we're gonna definitely continue our part two.
part
But
two. Hey,
but
hey, hey, y'all, we gonna do a part two.
we're gonna do a part two.
But
But you definitely want, is that customer service. It's customer
yeah,
service
yeah,
goes a long way still to this day.
yeah. Y'all believe me, and Miss Reeves can attest. When I'm around the right people, I don't talk the way sometimes I talk on this show because I know I'm trying to reach everybody. I'm trying to reach the lowest of the lowest, the highest of the highest on this show. But at the end of the day, when you get in those rooms, y'all, most time it's silent.
Money is quiet. And
I'm
I'm gonna end
telling
on that. Yeah, we're gonna
you. Go
definitely
ahead.
continue. But money is quiet. Yeah, money is quiet. Yes. So, but it's been a pleasure, 100%. We got to do this. We got to do a part two.
Oh yeah, we might need to do weekly. Let
We can do
you come
weekly.
on at least one
It
time weekly.
sounds amazing. So we can do part two. We can do it next
How
Monday. Absolutely, same time.
how can somebody find you if they need your services?
So if they need my services, my website is www.iamkathyreeves.com. We are also on Twitter at I am Kathy Reeves, and also on Instagram at Kathy Reeves. I am very, very easy. I'm very easy to find. I'm very transparent.
And
I'm right here.
we gonna end this show tonight off that. Man, we appreciate Dr.
Appreciate
Reeves
you
for
more.
coming on with us. Now everybody know the history of KT Thornton because she
Okay,
know 10
okay.
years worth of it.
Right, right,
But
right, right.
I'm telling y'all, man, it's been a great show here tonight. Very informative. Go back and watch it. Share it with somebody. I am KT Thornton. And who are you?
And I'm gonna say good night. You're a best. Good night.
That's
We
Dr.
appreciate
Reeves,
all your
y'all.
time,
And
and
y'all, we out
we'll be
here.
talk soon. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay. Bye bye.
I'm telling you. Y'all, I'm telling you, man, it's been a great night here on the show. Hold on. I'm telling you, man, great night. Wow. That's all I can say. And y'all, I ain't gonna hold us up. I might come back on later to do the regular Let It All Out Monday show. But y'all, we gonna end it right here at this time. Great time having Dr. Reeves on with us. But y'all, we are out of here. And we'll see you later. Peace. And